speaker, like me and not like we are not representing our companies here, and I'll just read out this. So this presentation is strictly for learning purpose only, and organization or presenter do not hold any responsibility. That same solution will work for your business requirements also. And this presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. Coming to myself, I'm Vaishnavi, and I have around 4.5 years of experience totally. And like I worked with Tipco previously, like for 2.5 years, and around 2+ years in MuleSoft. And I'm working for Epicero right now. So coming to the agenda of today, like we'll just go through like what event-driven architecture mean, and we'll just go through like what are all the components of event-driven architecture, and where do we use it in our real life scenarios, like one or two examples of that. And then coming to MuleSoft, like how do we implement that event-driven, like how do we um, start using event-driven architecture in our MuleSoft, that is through Async API. And how do we implement that Async API in any point platform? Like how do we write that in any point platform, and what are the benefits of using Async API? So these are the things which we are going to look at it right now. And coming back to this, like can anyone just go ahead and let me know, like let us know, like what is your understanding of event driven architecture?
You can put your comments in the chat section.
And Neeraj, like can you please read it for me? I'm not
Yeah,
able to
yeah,
see both
definitely.
the screens at the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was waiting for the comments actually. Shriram is saying
Okay.
schedule jobs. Now Gani is saying any event that triggers a request to MuleFlow like scheduler. Then Chitti Babu is saying
Yeah.
reusability. Zeno is saying pub sub model.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. All of these are true. Like everything comes under event-driven architecture. Like on a general note, like event-driven architecture can be defined as it's an architecture which is designed for the producers and to communicate with the consumers. Like here the producers are not even aware of the consumers, and not even aware of the technology they are using. Like as someone said, pub sub model, yeah, that is true. Like if one has to communicate based on an event here can be any change in the data. Like it can be an update, it can be a new event created, or it can be anything. So based on any event, like a producer wants to communicate with the consumer, or the consumer wants to communicate with the producer. So it can be told as, like event driven architecture is made up of three major components, which are producers, router, and the consumer. So these communication between all these systems will be through events. So here the producers will generate the events, and the router will route the events from the producers to the consumers. If required, any filtering of message events or anything will happen at the router, and then the consumers will receive it. And the reverse communication is also the same. So yeah, and we'll go through like what is the need for event driven architecture. So we'll go through three different perspectives of this. Like one is the discovery. So how do we know? Like yeah, assume that uh, we are using any listener in our code, and we are using one particular channel for that, and we are using it, assume that okay, we'll take one example so that it will be better for explanation purpose. Um, any online e-commerce system like Amazon or something like that, so we are listening on any order placing um, event. So if an order is placed, so we are using one particular channel to listen to that. So if someone wants to track the order, so even they can use this data and they can modify that based on the requirement. So how do they know that there is already a channel existing for this? So that is a difficult thing. So event driven architecture will make everything easy for everyone to understand in terms of visibility, governance, and discovery. So coming to discovery, so for business perspective, how is it used? So how do I capture this new point of data in real time? So if we know that, so we are creating one particular event or one particular channel which is listening for that particular event. So that is documented in this architecture, so that even when someone wants to reuse that, this will be visible to them. So from IT perspective, so what is the channel for that customer change event? So these are documented in event driven architecture. So coming to governance perspective, from business perspective, so how do I leverage the new technology to improve the business? And from IT, it's like how to consistently manage event infrastructure to help or to improve the business. And as we said, visibility, so from business point of view, so at what times are we receiving like the high traffic or the web traffic surge, at which times of the at what times of the day? And from IT, like how do I know when unusual events start occurring? So all these can be known from the well documented event driven architecture. So yeah, we'll go with a simple example of cab booking service where a particular user wants to book a cab. So what we'll do, we'll just check for the cab and what actually happened. So we are sending an event to the taxi fleet service where it will be listening on the taxi car service, like it will get each and every event from the taxi car service saying that this is the nearest taxi which is available. So here customer order UI is sending an event to the taxi fleet service, and taxi fleet service is again listening on the taxi car service for the nearest taxi location. So once it gets the details of that, so this car service will also send the location to this, and once it finds out that this is the nearest taxi for the customer, then it sends the ETA for the customer for that particular booking. So this is completely through the event, so nothing so no polling kind of thing is involved here, or is it required here? Yeah,
We
so
have a
this was one example which.
Vaishnavi, we
Yep,
have a
Neeraj.
question from Bhanu. Can event-driven
Okay.
architecture be used only for real-time or near to real-time things, or it can be used for batch mode of integrations too?
Okay. So it can be used for real time or near real time. That is true. But for batch, I'm completely not sure if we can use this event driven architecture for batch, because this is completely dependent on events, right? So if a particular event occurs, so at that point of time, what action is to be like, what action we need to take? So it depends on that. So real time and near real time, that is true. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Thanks for that, Vaishnavi.
Yeah. So we'll go through like what are the issues in synchronous communication or synchronous processing. So as we spoke about polling, like every scenario, it doesn't need to be it don't need polling. Like even we don't get any new information in polling, like we'll just check if this is updated or not, and then we'll just leave it off. Instead we can use this event based communication in that point of time. Like that is the one issue. And excessive coupling limits flexibility to add new services. So in synchronous processing, so if we have to do particular task, we have to add it to the existing service, so that that coupling between the services increases, which decreases the flexibility to add new services easily. And again, the time for development and the processing time, everything increases accordingly. And again, in terms of failures, so when a particular failure occurs, so it cascades through all the coupled services. So even that is not needed. And response time, that is obviously the response time to the customer increases, and it is like the response will be slow to the customer. So these are the issues in synchronous processing. And we'll discuss the issues with event driven architecture as well. So developers lack visibility into existing events. Like if we are not following completely if we are not following a proper event driven architecture, then the visibility, lack of visibility for developers will be there, and they'll not know how to reuse the existing events and everything. And IT team lack industry standard best practices, because event driven architecture can use the latest technologies for communicating the events and everything. So IT team should well equipped with that new industry standards and everything. And developers need to work with multiple protocols, because this can be used with many protocols, so we have to be well versed with the protocol which we are deciding to use that. So which can be challenging sometimes. And yeah, before going to the async API, anyone has any questions?
Yeah, I'm on the watch, Vaishnavi. I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So coming to the async API in the MuleSoft, the MuleSoft has given an opportunity for us to document the event-driven architecture using this async API feature. So what is async API? It's a well-documented contract on how to interact with services. It's just a contract which we write, like what are the channels, and what is the channel name which we are using, and what is that channel used for. Is it for publishing or is it for subscribing, and everything. So it's just a well documented contract, and what is the input message format, output message format, and everything. And async API, it is used to discover, reuse, manage, and govern events in the enterprise. So if we are implementing if we are creating a new channel for one particular use case, so if someone else wants to add a new service where this channel is useful for them also, so they can discover it, reuse the same channel, and uh, so that they'll not have to write it from scratch again. And it's open source and protocol agnostic, allowing interoperability. So it is completely protocol agnostic, so nowhere will add any details about the protocol in the async API details. So async API support in any point platform. In the design center, we can create async API specification, or we can import one from the anypoint exchange, and then we can publish it to the anypoint exchange to the public portal, so that it will be visible to everyone. And we can add non-managed instances to our async API asset. And here we are telling non-managed instances because we cannot manage this async API using our anypoint manager. This is just a document which we are writing it so that the entire organization follows the same standards, and if someone else are adding anything, so that everything will be documented at one place, and which will be a standard practice for everyone. And one more thing, yeah, in any point studio or in flow designer, we cannot import this async API as we are importing our raml or something like that to implement it in our studio. So if we want to implement any of, like if we want to implement this async API, so we have to manually follow the async API which we have written, and then we have to implement it accordingly. So if we try to import that, so the studio will give an error saying that this is not supported. Um, yep.
We have two
So
questions,
going to,
Vaishnavi.
yeah, yeah.
Bhanu is, sorry, Nilesh is asking how to improve developers' visibility for event-driven architecture.
How to improve developers visibility into, so yeah, so this is done by developers itself, like event driven the sync API, populating a sync API, it can be done by developers as well. So as we have discussed, one use case, like if we have to implement something which is already in use, so we can just go through the sync API which is already written, and we can just check that if something is like if there is something existing which will help us, so we can just use that and we can explore that further by assume that you are also interested in one of the channels which is already established. So you can just go and subscribe to that channel and listen to that message and check that if that is really needed for you or not, or are you looking for any other data other than that. So in that terms, visibility definitely improves for the developers as well. Yeah. uh,
Uh,
and I hope that I answer your question. And
his question was on a different slide. Then we will talk in the end, actually, during the Q&A in detail, Vaishnavi.
okay.
And maybe you can keep
Yeah.
going. I'll ask you these questions in the end so that I don't kill your flow, actually.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, what are the components of a sync API? So there are three main components of a sync API, which are events, channels, and transport. So events is like the message or data to be shared with other services. It's the actual data uh, which will be shared between the producer and the consumer. And the channels, so channel is just the destination of the message to be sent or received. And the transport is the technology that transports the message. So it can be anything like the anypoint MQ, RabbitMQ, Kafka, etc. So based on the visibility, so if we publish our async API to the exchange, so we can discover it using the async API filter in the exchange, saying that we can check all the async APIs which are published to the exchange, and we can explore our event driven APIs really quickly, and then acquire the right API with limited support. Like we can do the versioning and everything as we do for any other raml or something like that. So this will improve the visibility for everyone who have the proper access to it. So yeah, before going to demo is actually not a proper complete like a demo. It's just like how do we write the sync API in our anypoint platform. Like Neeraj, before going to this, like we can take the questions asked till now.
Okay, sure, Vaishnavi. I just opened a Q&A tab also. If people want to put their questions there, they're
Okay.
more than welcome. But if you want, I can ask you questions.
Yeah, yeah. We'll go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so Yo is asking one question. Does PubSub fail into the three layers of API-led architecture?
Does PubSub fail into the three-layer architecture of API-led connectivity? So
Does
we
it?
can hmm, it's not about that we cannot implement this PubSub model using the API-led connectivity. Yes, we can do that, but if your complete project is like a mix of your normal APIs, like the synchronous APIs and the event driven APIs, then of course we'll go with that. But if your uh, complete project is based on, like, assume that I'm not sure, like for us we have in India, like we have Uber, Ola, which are the taxi services, like which is completely dependent on this event driven architecture. So if we are going with that, so implementing this API led connectivity, so this is not with respect to API led connectivity, like opposed to API led connectivity or something like that. So this is just a document which we are doing, and if we are implementing this API, again we can go through the API led connectivity in detail. Like if we are listening to any message, right, any event, so after listening to that, so how it should be processed, that we can design it as we want to. Like if we are trying to process it in a three different layers based on the requirement, so we can go ahead, is what my understanding, but I'm not completely sure about this, what about the statement which I have given, but I'm thinking that it could be.
Okay, no worries. That's a fair statement, Vaishnavi. Even we can open it as a discussion point also in the end of the meetup. So Sydney is asking one
Yeah.
question. When you can say contract needs to be manually enforced in the mule, what does that mean?
Contract has to be manually enforced in the mule. uh I didn't get this. Like this is a document, async API is a document which needs to be written manually. So is that the question, or
No, it's the question about the contract actually. Any point cannot import API, it's only the document.
uh-huh, yeah, that is true.
Okay. Yeah, I think Sriram, I take
So
your point.
yeah,
Let's proceed with the demo, and then I think many questions will be answered in the demo.
yeah, okay. So here, if we are trying to create a new asset, so here we'll be having an option to create a new async API. um, so we can go ahead with this option. I just created one basic simple one. So here, this is the async API version which we are using, and this is the information, like what is the title of this document, and what is the version of this document. And then comes to the channel section. So what are the channels which we are using, the name of the channel, here it is book trade, and what is this channel used for, like is this to publish the message, or is this to subscribe on this channel. So this here we are doing a publish, and what is the message. Message is the payload, like what is the payload. Here we can define, as we are doing it in our raml, like we can add data types and everything we can do here, and we can use like all the constraints and everything. How we do it in raml, we can do everything over here, the payload. And then yeah, there is one more channel which is doing the subscribe and the payload. So this can be published to exchange. Yeah, so here we can maintain different versions of the asset which we have published, and similarly, like we can write the description about this, and we can add all the details. Like we can make it easy to use, like everything. Like we can add the API notebooks to this and everything. Um, Yeah. So Neeraj, like this is more like a kind of small demo kind of thing where I can just showcase that how do we do it in the design center, and that's all.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Vaishnavi. So should we proceed with the QA?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just read the questions. Yes. So Bhanu has one question. You can see that in the QA tab also, Vaishnavi, if you want to read it. How to avoid point-to-point
Uh,
connect with EDA. Yeah, go to QA tab, the Q&A tab, where you can see a red
yeah,
dot.
yeah,
Yes. So
yeah.
how to avoid
How
point-to-point
to
connection?
avoid? Yeah, to answer your question, like if we are using queues, right? So in that place we can establish this point-to-point connection. But if we are using topics or something like that, where the publish subscribe model can be implemented using that. So if in future, if we are planning to add multiple systems, so we can just subscribe to the existing channel if we are interested in the message which that channel is producing to.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Vaishnavi. I hope it answered your question, Bhanu. Uh, Please let me know if any question is missed. Yeah. After reading the
Yeah, that
email,
topic can be bridged with a queue. Yeah, yeah.
it's like a fan out approach. Like Bhanu is
How
asking about,
about setting
yes.
alerts? So yeah, setting alerts, so we don't have to do like we are not doing anything from the async API. So settings and failures we have to handle it like based on the requirement. So maybe we can use a dead letter queue or something like that, where we have to post our failure messages to that, and then again we can just um, we can just push them again onto the same listener queue, or however the project requirement is like.
Okay. Thank you for that, Vaishnavi.
From Hemant, yeah. So if there is a change in specification, how does that impact publisher and subscriber? So yeah, if there is a change in the specification, so here so this document is visible for both the uh, for both the people, like who are at the publisher end and who are at the subscriber end. So assume that after you publish this document, so you are going to change the payload of the publisher, and you want subscriber to get notified about that change, so that subscriber, if they want to implement that change in their end, so they can do the same change. So this sync API uh, will play that role of communicating the required information between the publisher and the subscriber.
Thanks for that, Vaishnavi.
Yeah. Sriram, and how do you make use of this async API in implementation? How, yeah. So as of now, that is not yet done, Sriram. Like as we are implementing a RAML in the Anypon Studio, so that we can directly import. We can directly import the RAML, and then we can implement it. So in that way, we don't have any support for async API implementation in the studio. So as of now, we just have to follow the sync API document, and then we have to implement it in the studio, but we cannot import it and then do it like that.
Thanks for that, Vaishnavi. Shubhama is asking
Yeah,
one
how is
question.
this? Yeah, how is this different if we use Solace for EDA? I'm not aware of that. So if someone else can answer this, it will be helpful.
Yeah, no worries. We can discuss about this during the open session. Then
Yeah,
Manu is asking about API manager alerts. Will they work with async?
yeah, it will not. No, no. Yeah, as said, like Async API cannot be managed using any point manager, so it cannot be done. Like it cannot be used for alerts as well. Can Async API from Rahul? Yeah. Can Async API be used as a replacement to webhooks to notify the external clients about an event that occurred? So it is not exactly replacement to webhooks, but we can say that it is something similar to that. But yeah, but even at the external clients, and they should be able to listen to the event which we are producing. To. That's all. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Vaishnavi. Do we have any more questions?
Yep.
Thank you for the answer, Manik. Async API to webhook is what RAML is to HTTP implementation. It's just a spec. Thank you so much for the
Okay.
answer, Manik. Last question is from Gani. Can we link the async API
Okay.
published in Exchange and the ones which we manually implement in Studio? Can we link them, Vaishnavi?
Um, no, because we are not importing it into we are not importing it into Studio and we are implementing it. So, no, yeah, we cannot link it as of now. We cannot link the Async API published in Exchange and the one which we are implementing it in Studio. No.
Okay.
From Hemant, my understanding is that Async API is basically a machine readable YAML format of channel name and message structure. It does not put any constraints on publisher, subscriber, or message broker. Yeah, it is not only like a machine readable YAML format of channel names and everything. So it is just a well documented uh, format for everyone who are involved in the project. Uh, to know about like what is the channel look like, and what is it doing, like what is it listening to, what is it subscribing to, and everything. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Vaishnavi. I think the only question that is left is from Shubham, which we will talk in the last part of this
Yeah.
meeting. Uh,
Yep.
do we have any more questions, or we should proceed with the last part of this meetup? Okay, so now is the trivia time. We will be conducting a quiz. We'll have three questions, and only one answer is correct. So Vaishnavi will show you questions one by one, and then A, B, C, D. One answer will be correct. Total, we will pick
No, I
six.
guess one of the questions, Neeraj, it has like two answers, two correct answers, like multi choice
Okay, then
for one of
remind
the
me before
questions.
that
I'll just
question.
tell them out. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
worries, no worries. So we will grab total, like we will shortlist six people, and then we will spin a wheel in the end to find the last three lucky ones. They will be getting a voucher, like a free training voucher from MuleSoft. You can attend any program that you want. And I have few rules for you that I want to read out before we start playing this quiz. If you are a MuleSoft meetup leader or a mentor or ambassador, I would request you please do not play this quiz because this quiz is not for you. Second thing, and you are not going to get a voucher from this. So please don't waste the opportunity for somebody else. Second thing is, if you have already won a voucher in last 1 month globally, it's not only with the New York City meetup group, but anywhere if you have already won a voucher in last 30 days, you are not going to get the voucher again. So I request you, please, you can answer, but please tell honesty. If you have already won it, I will remove your name. Please let me know if we have any confusions before we start up or before we start the quiz. So Vaishnavi, please bear with me for 1 second.
Yeah.
We are starting with the question one. Vaishnavi, please show the question one on the screen.
Yep.
Pick
So
any
the
two advantages.
this is a multi-choice question.
Okay, so two answers correct.
Yeah.
Please pick any two advantages of Async API. Response time of an API increases with implementation of Async API, provides more visibility into existing events, well-defined contract for developers to start implementing Async API, used for synchronous processing. So let me stop. Okay, so Vaishnavi, please help me with the two correct answers, and then we will pick two people
Yeah.
from the chat.
Yeah, the correct options are B and C. It provides more visibility into existing events, and it's a well-defined contract for developers to start implementing Async API.
Okay, so in my opinion, Nilesh Pandey and Jeenu Kadir, they are the winners for question number one. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Vaishnavi.
Um, I'm not looking at that screen. Yeah.
Nilesh Pandey and Jeenu Kadir, they answered BC from the general
Okay.
tab.
Yeah, yeah,
Nilesh Pandey and Zeenu Kadir. So I have kept both of your names. So now this is the time
okay.
for
Yeah.
question two starts here. So please show the question number two.
Yep.
Which component is not part of Async API creation? Event, channel, router, transport. And I'll give 10 more seconds to people so that they can respond Vaishnavi. And then we will close the question two.
Yeah.
Question two closes here. Please help me with the correct answer. Then I'll grab the two winners
Yeah. The
from.
correct answer is option C, router.
Okay, so Bhaskar Rathinavel
Do
is the
we?
first winner. Thank you so much for answering this question also right. I will pick another person because I already picked you from question one. So Srinivas Kora will be the second guy.
Yeah.
Okay, just bear with me for 1 minute, Vaishnavi.
Yep.
Just write their name so that I don't lose it. Okay, so question two stop. Now question number starts here. So please show the question number three on the screen, Vaishnavi.
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
manage async API using Anypoint Manager? Yes or no? Like you need to answer A or B, basically.
Yeah.
So I'll give 10 more seconds. Okay. So I think no is the right answer. B.
Yeah.
Okay. So question 3. B. Rutik Ambre is the first
Yeah.
winner.
And Animesh Paul. No, Animesh Paul. No, Akshay Kapoor.
Ambre, Shubham. Yeah, Akshay Kapoor.
Yep.
So Rutik Ambre and Akshay Kapoor, you are the winners from question number 2. Now, let me start sharing my screen. Vaishnavi, if you can stop your screen
Yeah.
share for 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Please let me know if Vaishnavi you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, I'm able to.
Okay.
Uh,
So,
no, again it stopped. Like at least for me, I'm not able to. Yeah, now I'm able to. Yeah.
awesome. So, I have total 6 guys with me. Two, 4. Any call outs if I missed anybody's name? Any winner if your name is not here?